M. Macaroni, an Italian paste made of flour and eggs, also a fop, which name arose from a club called the Macaroni Club, instituted by some of the most dressy travelled gentlemen about town, who led the fashions. Hence, a man foppishly dressed was supposed a member of that club, and by contraction styled a macaroni. Mace Cove, a swindler, a sharper, a cheat, on the mace to live by swindling machines. Mrs. Phillips Ware, see Cundum, mackerel, a board from the French mackerel, Mad Tom, or mackerel backed, long backed, Mad Tom, or Tom of Bedlam, otherwise an Abram, man, a rogue that counterfeits madness, cunt. Madam, a kept mistress. Madam Ran, a whore cunt. Maid, stolen cunt. Madge, the private parts of a woman. Madge Coles, sodomite cunt. Mag, a halfpenny. Maggot boiler, a tallow chandler. Maggoty, whimsical capricious. Magnum bonum, a bottle containing 2 quarts of wine. See Scotch pint. Mahometan gruel, coffee, because formerly used chiefly by the Turk. Maiden sessions, a sessions where none of the prisoners are capitally convicted. Make, a halfpenny cunt. Make weight, a small candle, a term applied to a little slender man. Malingerer, a military term for one who, under pretence of sickness, evades his duty. Malkin or Malkin, a general name for a cat, also a parcel of rags fastened to the end of a stick to clean an oven, also a figure set up in a garden to scare the birds. Likewise an awkward woman. The cove's so scaly he'd spice a malkin of his jazy. The fellow is so mean that he would rob a scarecrow of his old wig. Malkin trash, one in a dismal garb. Mousy nose, a red pink-pulled snout, rich in carbuncles and rubies. Man of the town, a rake, a debauchee. Man of the turf, a horse racer or jockey. Manoeuvring the apostles, robbing Peter to pay Paul, i.e., borrowing of one man to pay another. Man trap, a woman's commodity. Man of the world, a knowing man. Man, Cambridge, any undergraduate from 15 to 30 as a man of Emmanuel, a young member of Emmanuel. Manufacture liquors prepared from materials of English growth. Mare's nest. He has found a mare's nest and is laughing at the eggs. He said of one who laughs without any apparent cause. Marjorie Pratter, a hen cunt. Marine officer, an empty bottle. Marine officers being held useless by the seamen. See wit. Marplot, a spoil sport. Marriage music, the squalling and crying of children. Married, persons chained or handcuffed together in order to be conveyed to Gaul, or on board the lighters for transportation, are in the cunt language said to be married together. Marrowbones, the knees, to bring anyone down on his marrow knees, to bring anyone down his marrow bones to make him beg pardon on his knees. Some derive this from Mary's bones, i.e. the bones bent in honour of the Virgin Mary, but this seems rather far-fetched. Marrowbones and cleavers, principal instruments in the band of rough music. These are generally performed by butchers on marriages, elections, riding, skimmington, and other public or joyous occasions. Martinet, a military term for a strict disciplinarian, from the name of a French general famous for restoring military discipline to the French army. He first disciplined the French infantry and regulated their method of encampment. He was killed at the siege of Doesburg in the year 1672. Masons mourned, a sham saw above the elbow to counterfeit a broken arm by a fall from a scaffold. Master of the mint, a gardener. Master of the rolls, a baker. Master of the wardrobe, one who pawns his clothes to purchase liquor. Matrimonial peacemaker, the sugar stick or arbor vitae. Maudlin drunk, crying drunk. Perhaps from Mary Magdalene, called Maudlin, who is always painted in tears. Mauled, extremely drunk or soundly beaten. Maundering broth, scolding. Maunding, asking or begging, cunt. Mawks, a vulgar slattern. Morley, a hand. Tip as your Morley, shake hands with me from the Morley, shake hands. More wallop, a filthy composition sufficient to provoke vomiting. Max gin. Maybes. Maybes don't fly all the year long, or an answer to anyone who prefaces a proposition with "it may be." Merely mouthed, over modest or backwards in speech. Medlar. A fruit vulgarly called an open arse, of which it is more truly than delicate said, that it is never ripe till it is as rotten as a turd, then it is never not worth a fuck, or a fucked something with F-A, a fut, a fart, yeah, not worth a fart. Mellow, almost drunk, melting moments, a fat man and woman in the amorous congress. To melt, to spend. Will you melt a board? Will you spend a shilling? The cull melted a couple of decusses upon us. The gentleman spent a couple of crowns upon us. Cunt. Member mug, a chamber pot. Men of straw, hired bail, so called from having straw stuck in their shoes to distinguish them. Men of Kent, men born east of the river Medway, who are said to have met the Conqueror in a body, each carrying a green bow in his hand, the whole appearing like a moving wood, and thereby obtaining a confirmation of their ancient privileges. The inhabitants of Kent are divided into Kentish men and men of Kent, also a society held at the Fountain Tavern, Bartholomew Lane, AD 1743. Merkin, counterfeit hair for women's privy parts. See Bailey's Dict. Merry Andrew, or Mr. Merryman, the jack-pudding jester or zany of a mountebank, usually dressed in a party-coloured coat. Merry-ass Christian, a whore. Merry begotten, a bastard, man of the world, a knowing man. Mess John, a Scotch Presbyterian teacher or parson. Messmate, one who eats at the same mess, companion or comrade. Metal, the seaman, to fetch metal, the act of self-pollution. Metal is also figuratively used for courage. Mettlesome, bold, courageous. Michael hip, Michael your head's on fire, see hype. Midshipman's watch and chain, a sheep's heart and pluck. Milch cow, one who is easily tricked out of his pocket, a term used by gaolers for prisoners who have money and bleed freely. Milk and water, both ends of the busk, to milk the pigeon, to endeavour at impossibilities. Milling cove, a boxer, how the milling cove served the cull-out, how the boxer beat the fellow. Mill, a chisel, to mill, to rob, also to break, beat out, or kill. I'll mill your glaze, I'll beat out your eye, to mill a bleating cheat, to kill a sheep, to mill a ken, to rob a house, to mill a mill dole, to beat hemp in bridewell, cunt. Mill lay, to force open the doors of houses in order to rob them. Miller, a murderer. Mine arse on a bandbox, an answer to the offer of anything inadequate to the purpose for which it is wanted, just as a bandbox would be if used for a seat. Mine uncle's, a pawnbroker's shop, also a necessary house, carried to my uncle's pawned. New married men are also said to go to their uncles when they leave their wives, soon after the honeymoon. Minikin, a little man or woman, also the smallest sort of pin. Minor clergy, young chimney sweepers. Mint, gold, a mint of money, common phrase for a large sum. Mischief, a man loaded with mischief, i.e., a man with his wife on his back. Mish, a shirt, smock or sheet, cunt. Mish topper, a coat or petticoat. Miss, a miss or kept mistress, a harlot. Miss Laycock, the monosyllable mite, a nickname for a cheesemonger, from the small insect of that name found in cheese. Mixed metal, a silversmith. Moabites, bailiffs or Philistines. Mob or mab, a wench or harlot. Mobility, the mob, a sort of opposite to nobility. Mohair, a man in the civil line, a townsman or tradesman, a military term from the mohair buttons worn by persons of those descriptions, or any others not in the army, the buttons of military men being always of metal. This is generally used as a term of contempt, meaning bogious, tradesman or mechanic.